Nikki Haley got into a back and forth with Vivek Ramaswamy that was really interesting to see during last night's first 2024 Republican presidential primary debate. And Vivek is one of the most dishonest candidates and is kissing up to Trump constantly. And y'all all know how I also feel about Nikki Haley. But here, the exchange was good to see because she was getting the best of him. And in this situation, he was more unreasonable than she was being. It's very strange watching these GOP debates, just the emotions you're feeling, because there's so many lies being told about Biden and about Democrats. And then you're rooting someone on who just lied because of their criticisms of another worse candidate. It's very confusing emotionally, I have to say. But here, she's on the right side of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, meaning she actually wants to assist in Ukraine defending themselves, give them resources to defend themselves. Whereas Vivek Ramaswamy has put forward the idea that he would kiss up to Putin, essentially, give parts of Ukraine, give as if it's his choice. But the stance of the United States would be, if Vivek Ramaswamy is president, give parts of Ukraine to Russia to make Putin happy and to settle the conflict, then go and visit with Putin and talk about how we have to be better buddies, which of course would be the end of the conflict, right? Putin wouldn't look for anything further after that nonsense, and that would be completely devastating for the Ukrainian people. But here, Nikki Haley takes him to task.
Once Russia takes Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. That's a world war. We're trying to prevent war. Look at what Putin did today. He killed Prigozhin. When I was at the UN, the Russian ambassador suddenly died. This guy is a murderer, and you are choosing a murderer over a pro-American country.
First of all, Mr. Ramaswamy, you have 30 seconds. Mr. DeSantis,
Nikki, I wish you well in your future career on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon.
You know, I'm not on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon. And
Boeing came off of it, but you've been pushing this lie. You've been pushing this lie all week, Nikki.
You want to go and defund Israel? You want to
okay, let me address that. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to address each of those right now. This is the false lies of a professional politician. There you have it.
Your watch, so the reality is, America less safe. You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
And you know what? The foreign policy experience that you all have shows in the pointless wars we've gotten into. I have to address that. So our relationship with Israel will never be stronger than by the end of my first term.
So again, so far from admiring Nikki Haley, but Vivek Ramaswamy's plan for Russia's invasion of Ukraine is ridiculous and is so pro-Russia. It's stunning. And so there, especially the crowd was into it. She really got the best of him, which is really good to see. And it was fascinating to watch the way that a lot of these candidates were directing their attention at Vivek Ramaswamy, which was fun. Strange that they didn't go after DeSantis more because he has higher poll numbers, or Trump obviously would be the person you would most want to focus on based on the different poll numbers. I think possibly Vivek is kind of this proxy fight with Trump because he stands for a lot of similar things and spews a lot of the similar rhetoric and advocates himself to be, portrays himself to be this pro-Trump guy. I'm going to be the Trump 2.0. And so maybe they're too afraid to go after Trump directly, except for Christie and Hutchinson. So they go after Vivek. Who knows? But some interesting moments, including this one. And Christie obviously was willing to go after both.
Add climate change policies than they are of actual climate change.
Governor Haley, are you bought and paid for?
Down by 98%
Hold on.
in the last century.
Listen. Hold on.
I've had enough. I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here. And the last person in one of these debates, Brett, who's still...
And then Christie does this. Again, he's running in the Republican Party. I get it. And he's a Republican, and we know all those things. But it's still annoying because I get used to him attacking Trump, and I'm like, yeah. And sorry for hitting my mic. And then he says something like this.
Stood in the middle of the stage and said, what's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here? Was Barack Obama, and I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur standing on stage tonight.
Ugh. I don't like that. Ugh. Odd last name. No, Chris Christie. Wah, wah, wah. Come on. You're doing so well. Anyways, breaking my heart. Then Mike Pence also directed his attention at Vivek.
Anybody that thinks that we can't solve the problems here in the United States and be the leader of the free world has a pretty small view of the greatest nation on earth.
That is incorrect.
We can do both, Vivek. We've done both. We've been the leader of the free world and the arsenal of democracy for years. The Reagan Doctrine years ago made it clear. We said, if you're willing to fight the communists on your soil, we'll give you the means to fight them there so our troops don't have to fight them. Vivek, if we do the giveaway that you want to give to Putin to give him his land, it's not going to be...
Vivek is nodding. But that's exactly what his plan is. It's a big giveaway.
Too long for he rolls across a NATO border, and frankly, our men and women of our armed forces are going to have to go and fight him. I want to let the Ukrainians fight and drive Putin and the Russians back out into...
And that was a strong moment, I think, for Mike Pence. We know Mike Pence, and we know, separate from policies and all that, just rhetorically, he's, to me, just really struggles to impress anyone and even make anyone notice as he speaks. It's rather boring most of the time, but there, he got into it. There was some real person energy there. And Vivek Ramaswamy is someone who, with all of his dishonesty, is acknowledged to be, and I think accurately, really effective rhetorically. And he didn't have a lot of moments that I think were, wow. But again, it's hard to calibrate. If I was a MAGA viewer, I don't know. Who knows how other people are perceiving all this? I'm trying my best to say how this might go off to, or come off to other people, but it is difficult. So there is the first 2024 Republican presidential primary debate. If you're watching this segment and you're wondering, that wasn't much, I did a different segment on the YouTube channel. Check that out. More coverage there. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.